sexy cheesecake. All cheffy and stuff. Right. Week 8, I think we're in week 9. I don't know, my hair's getting a bit ridiculous. There's a lot of product in there to keep this down. I've got a lot of hair, right? I know it doesn't look like I've got a lot of hair. I do. A little quiff. I don't know if you can see my little quiff. Don't know what this is all about. Don't like my quiff. Quiff can go. Anyway, g'day. How are you? Right, I've had enough. I've had enough now. All over furlough. Don't want it anymore. So, as a bit of a treat to my amazing wife, who has not been furloughed and literally hates everyone on furlough. So don't mention being furloughed to Lauren, she'll attack you. She'll gouge out your eyes with a spoon and tell you to shut up whinging about being on furlough. Because being at work is 100 times worse, she reckons. All right, so regardless, don't talk to Lauren. I'm gonna do a treat this weekend. I'm actually gonna do a tasting menu, right? Because I love her and I also like cooking really nice food. So I'm gonna do, Lauren, what do I got? I'm going to do a 9 courses. I'm going to do a 9-course tasting menu on Friday with wines because we're lavish and I need to cook. I need to give you guys some content. I didn't do any videos last week. Let's just clarify. I was over it all. Couldn't be asked. Just nothing. Had no motivation. I did lots of stuff. I did running. You know, that was about it really. Not much else. So I thought I'd do a few videos this week of actual cheffy food. So I'm gonna do today cheesecake. What am I gonna do today? Today's Monday. I'm doing this on Friday. This is how far ahead I'm doing stuff because cheffy stuff takes a bit of time. We don't just turn up in the morning and go, do you want a sexy cheesecake? I'll make you one now. No, it's not how we do it. So, I'll show you lots of things and I'll put this together in a normal video. So it might be a long cheesecake video and you might be thinking there's other cheesecake videos. You've been talking for 2 minutes, dickhead, and there's no cheesecake yet. Because there's going to be good content later. So don't start, you know, telling me what to do. Can't. I'm my own boss. Haha. Go away. Anyway, going off tangent, a bit strange this morning. Maybe I'll have a sip of my coffee and I'll get back to being a bit normal. Alright, back in again. What I'm going to do is a champagne and elderflower cheesecake on a ginger sable biscuit, a bit of nougatine on top, otherwise known as like Florentine biscuit or something like that. I'm going to do a cracked tweel, which is like a sugar tweel. It's going to be filled with like poached rhubarb. Quite hard, I mean, to visualise what I've just said there. Either way, it's not going to be biscuit base with some set cream cheese on top. That is not what we're making. I am going to make that this week because I love it. But that's not what we're making today. So this is real cheffy. Everything's going to be separate. There's going to be a build. The base of the cheesecake is going to be a ginger sable biscuit, and that's going to be a standalone thing, and I'll build it in the last minute. It'll be that. It'll be the cheesecake, which I'm going to set in ring molds. So then just take the cheesecake off. We're going to have a nougatine biscuit the same size that's going on top. The tweel's going to be stuffed. We're going to get some flowers on it. We're going to make it pretty. This is going to blow people away if you do it at home. So I thought I'd give you all a chance to, God knows when we're opening restaurants, and it kills me. So I'm going to try and bring a bit of restaurant to you. Okay, so I might even do a few other dishes this week which are a bit more restaurant-y as well. Anyway, stick with me. First up, today is Monday, we're making sable biscuits. Tomorrow I'm going to be making nougatine. Wednesday I'll probably make the cheesecake. I get ahead because I've got to do lots of other things, so you start planning what you can make beforehand and what you can't. You try to make all this in one day, you won't like it, you won't enjoy the cheesecake. You'll be like, I've been there since 5 this morning making this goddamn cheesecake, and I didn't enjoy it. So, trust me. Anyway, gonna go start making some ginger sables. Ginger sables, first up. Sable biscuit. Oh, sable biscuits. Sable biscuits are just delicious. They're kind of just a shortbread. I have no idea what the difference is, to be fair. It's shortbreadish. That's all we've got in it, real simple. Flour, plain flour. 170 grams. I'm actually doubling it, so 340. 340 grams, let's not confuse you. Light brown sugar. What have we got? Light brown sugar, I forgot what I wrote. Light brown sugar, we have 130 grams. So 130 grams, and then 250 grams of butter. Good old butter. So we're going to cream the butter and the sugar together. These little blighters till they're pale. And it's a bit different when you're using brown sugar because it won't be as pale because it's light brown. It's in the name, peeps. So, pale, and then slowly incorporate the flour. So like any shortbread or biscuit, the more you can cream the butter and the sugar, the tastier your biscuit's going to be, the shorter your biscuit's going to be. Why is it called shortbread? Short means it's crumbly. So if you have a short pastry, it's going to be crumbly. If you're going to have short bread, it's not bread at all. It's a biscuit. But anyway, it's going to be crumbly. And that's what you want. You want your biscuit to just be delicious and flavoursome. Some sables I've seen have eggs in them. I don't think they're sables. I don't think so. Anyway, the cream, the butter and the sugar, slowly add the flour. Flour-wise, so once again, I add half in and then just slowly add the second half, really slowly, get it in there. And I'm also going to add a little bit of ground ginger. So a teaspoon of ground ginger. So once again, for those playing at home, we're going to cream 130 grams of light brown sugar and 250 grams of butter. In this old machine-a-rooney, we've got a good view there we are, with this old paddle of love. All right, so I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that fast forward, or time lapse, whatever it's called, don't give a shit. I'm going to do that, and once that's made into a dough, I'm going to roll it out into about 3 mil, so like not much at all, in between greaseproof paper. I'm going to put that in a tray overnight in the fridge. I like to cook my sables off from fridge cold, so they don't shrink. So what I'm going to do is, roll that all out. I'm going to do that all on time lapse for you, because I've got lots to do on this thing, and I'm already over 2 minutes talking shit about nothing. Right, so I've sworn a lot today, haven't I? Anyway, apologise. Gonna do this in fast forward. I'll get back to you and we'll show you the cooking another day. Nougatine biscuit. All right, so this is step 2 of the sexy cheesecake. So we're on Tuesday now. Hello everyone on Tuesday. All right, so nougatine biscuit. I think in Australia, they might be called Florentine biscuits and half of them's dipped in chocolate. Not sure, kind of the same sort of taste. It's a reasonably tricky biscuit. Got some weird ingredients. We've got pectin, we've got some glucose. Glucose. So you need butter, you need cream, you need glucose, you need sugar, and you need pectin, and you need nuts. That's what we're doing here. So in a pot, I'm going to do most of this in fast forward too, or time lapse, whatever we want to call it, if we want to get technical. Essentially, first thing you've got to do in a pot, which I've got here, is you're going to grab your 120 grams of butter, you're going to grab 50 mils of cream, so not much, and 50 grams of glucose. You're going to get it in the pot, and you're going to put that on the heat. It's as simple as that. You want to see me do it? Boom, there you go, we're on. Okay, so that's cool. Then in a separate bowl, stop shaking all over the place. Here we go, I've just mixed the pectin. This is quite fancy pectin, to be fair. This is pectin X58. I've got no fucking idea what that was, excuse me. I've no idea what that means. Anyway, so mix the sugar and the pectin in here together. And mix it together. Pectin's not the easiest thing to melt into things sometimes. It gets a little bit clumpy and stuff, so I think sometimes just mixing it with the sugar helps. So essentially all we're doing is, be really careful. I'll just turn my back on this and too much heat. Bit ferocious of heat, because you're melting butter, glucose and cream, so any sort of ferocious heat, you're just going to burn that cream. So we're going to melt that. We're going to mix in the sugar and the pectin and going to bring it to the boil. That's it, right? And then once we've done that, we're going to mix in our nuts. And the nuts is 80 grams, or no, 160 grams of nuts. Usually it's hazelnuts, almonds, or whatever else you want. You want to put cocoa nibs in there, whatever you like. I've got walnuts and hazelnuts. And all I've done is blended them up in my blender. I still want loads of chunks in there, because it's nice when these biscuits sort of cook down. Because basically what you do with these is, we're making sort of a caramel around the nuts, and we put them on a tray, and we cook it, and it spreads out like a big shard, and then we're going to cut it into our biscuit shapes afterwards. If you cut it beforehand, there's no way it's going to stay in the right shape. So anyway, so I'm just stirring my cream off picture. I should just turn the camera and talk to you while I'm doing it. Yeah, now we're a cooking video. Like I've never made a video before in my life, like a weirdo. So yeah, that's all happening here. Glucose, cream and butter, and the sugar's going to go in. We're going to boil. I'm going to put this nuts in, and then I'll put it underneath. I'm going to roll it. I've got these. Right, I'm getting ahead of myself. It's the normal metal tray, and these are Silamats. Don't think it's too cheffy, because you can. I think Gareth bought these in Aldi for 15 quid each, so they're not too bad and they last really good. Instead of having to use a sheet of greaseproof paper every time, these things retain heat better, they disperse heat better, they're just better. So get them. So that's melted. You're gonna add the sugar, gonna bring it to the boil, because I've got to watch that and not talk to you. Add my nuts in. Whoop. That's gonna be like this runny mixture. I'm gonna pour that in the middle of each of these trays, roll it out. So we want it really thin. No, we want 1 mil thick, as thin as you can go. And then we're gonna bake it at 160 for 10 minutes until golden, and then stamp it out. Come back to you. Okay, we're back in the game. That looks really good. So at this point, I want to cool that down a little bit too, so I just slip that straight onto a cool bench. And I've got myself a rack on top of a thing like that, beautiful. I've also got myself a cutter. Now, I'm going to be making my cheesecakes in moulds like this, and I'll show you how I cling filmed that before, but I need to know that this is going to fit on top of it, so you need to find a cutter that's the right size. And then without this getting too cold, you just want to cut yourself nice shapes. It's still soft, so be really careful. So either have really new cutters, which this one isn't, or wait for it to get to this perfect point, which it's not. You can see it was a bit soft. So you find, and you do want to find really cool spots that have like chunky nuts in. So yeah, it's still a bit hot. So you just find this perfect temperature. So when it cools right down, you'll be able to cut this perfect circle out, which is not quite yet. No. Okay, so essentially that's what it's meant to look like. Got your beautiful nougatine biscuits. What they look like as a whole tray. So there we go. They did all cut in the end. You get heaps of leftovers. Like I've got a whole tray of scraps. I mean, when we say leftovers, they're delicious. So you can just crumble them up and put them on ice cream. You could put them in ice cream. You could just eat them as biscuits. You could chocolate coat them and give them to kids. There's a lot. But essentially, when you've got your beautiful tray of set ones like this, let them cool, wrap them in an airtight container, and we'll use them later in the week. Okay, hang on. Oh, where's my sign? The cheesecake bit. Right, that was worth the wait. Right, just drop the paper everywhere. Alright, cool. So, the cheesecake bit. We're in the game. Alright, so my bench, let's have a look. Okay, anyway. I should probably plan more before I press play on record, shouldn't I, before I just start yabbering. Anyway, the cheesecake bit. It's a gelatin set cheesecake. It's a bit fancier than normal, but it's essentially a cheesecake. So for it, I'm doing double my normal recipe. My recipe's for actually, doesn't matter. Why do I tell you that stuff? I give you too much information and confuse the hell out of everyone. Anyway, you need 8 grams of gelatin, leaf gelatin. For me, 8 grams works out to be 2.5 leaves. Powdered gelatin probably can be used in this. Work out your own conversion, because I'm telling you, you lose leaf. If you don't want to listen to what I'm saying, go away. No, Jay, that's a bit harsh, isn't it? Anyway, 2.5 sheets of gelatin. That just goes in cold water to what we call balloon. So that will just like expand a bit easier. You can melt it straight into hot stuff, I find, but it's best to balloon it. So I'm going to get that in there before I start talking to you. So that's one job out of the way. I then separate my bench into three components, because that's what we're going to be doing. So I've got 250 grams of cream cheese, the zest of a lemon, lime and orange, about half of one. You don't need the full zest for all of it. It depends what size the oranges are. Depends what size the lemons are. So anyway, you need zest of lemon, lime and orange, and some vanilla. So I have that section as one section. Where's my bench? Is that going to hold up? You're going to be able to see over there? Some crazy footage if it does. Yeah, cool. So get that out of the way. Here you go. You've got an orange with my zester, so I remember to zest, because as if I just put one of them in. Anyway, an orange lime thing, some vanilla paste, 250 grams of cream cheese. That's one section. With this bowl of whisk, I have some cream, because I need 165, so 330 mils of whipped cream. So that's over to one section. So I'll whip that myself while I'm mixing the other stuff in the machine. Then we'll need a sabayon. So the sabayon is going to be egg yolks, 80 grams of egg yolks. Should be about 4 yolks. I've got 4. 4 wasn't quite enough, so I've cracked another one that's broken. So I'll use most of that, and 130 grams of sugar. And when I say make a sabayon, that's going to whisk those together till they're pale. So we're going to have cream cheese with vanilla and zest all mixed together in the old KitchenAid. You'll see that in time lapse. And I'm going to whisk the cream until that's a stiff peak. I'm going to make a sabayon. And then, the last of all, to make it the champagne cheesecake, I've got some champagne here. So I've got 100 ml of champagne. Don't go opening bottles of champagne for this, you lavish bastards. Just try and keep it in. If you haven't, a bit of white wine will do, something with a nice bit of flavour. So 100 ml of that into a little pot, along with 8 tablespoons of elderflower cordial. Whether you make your own or you get this great brand, use that, get that in there. So, nuts and bolts, what we're going to do. I'll give you an explanation and I'll do it all in time lapse. Because as I said, this video has got so many components, as you can see for this, it's brilliant. This is what we do. So we go over the top, chefs. So, I'm going to start mixing my cream cheese. Right, once that's mixing, I'm going to whip my cream, I'm going to make a sabayon, I'm going to heat up the liquid, I'm going to add the gelatin to the hot liquid, I'm going to put them all together. So, once you're doing this though, obviously you put heat near cream, it's just going to collapse it. So, you get your hot stuff done, which I'll do first. And then when that's cooling, so then you have your cream cheese, and you're going to fold the cream in, and then you're going to put them in moulds. Actually, let's get on to moulds now. Hang on, I'll stop this. I'm going to show you how to do the moulds. Okay, as I said to you, I'm going to be doing my stuff in ring moulds this week, so we need to get these ready to put cheesecakes in. And if you don't have these, you can actually use, and I'm going to be using, just some pastry cutters as well to find something reasonably the same size. Most important thing was, this is your nougatine cutter, so making sure that's like a perfect fit inside that. Remembering that the cheesecake's going to be smaller than the inside ring, just a little bit, so that'll be a perfect size. So once you've got your 2 things there, need to coat this, and like any containers, do all your coating before you start. So what I do is, get that out, where's my knife? So I'm going to do 2 here. So, cutting the triangles. Okay, so that's quite tight underneath, and I pull that along around the side. Can you see that? Oh, you can't, my hand's in the way. And I use this piece of cling film and pull tight, and it sort of seals up around. So then the bottom's got cling film on, it hasn't. And as tight as you can, but it's not going to be so thin, the stuff that comes out, that you're going to need to be, it doesn't have to be, I wouldn't say it doesn't have to be watertight, but you're not pouring water in here, you're pouring like a reasonably thick cheesecake mix. So that's what you're doing, you're covering the bases like that. Then once you've done that, put them on a tray. Already got a couple here I've done, a couple I prepared earlier. As you can see, I'm using all kinds of different bits, making sure I leave my cutter free, so I can always use that. I'm going to cover these 2 and then get back to you, but that's how you do them. Shake it. All right, cool. So we're we're Thursday now. So whatever that day is, 4. Day 4. Whoa. My hair's still a bit crazy. I don't know, not bad today. Anyway, in the game. I'm gonna start putting stuff together today. I'm actually gonna put a dessert together for you, even though tomorrow's the actual day of it. I thought I'll do the whole thing today, we'll finish it off. So, at this point in time, you've already got your sable mixture, which we're gonna roll, we've already rolled out. So for the biscuits, we're gonna bake them off in a second. We've already got cheesecake, it's in the fridge. Happy days. Nougatine biscuits, they're sorted. I'm gonna do a cracked tweel today. Now I call it a cracked tweel or a sugar tweel. Now these are a little bit tricky, and you don't need them. This is just garnish. It's got not much else going on for it. Just gonna look beautiful, and yeah, that's it really. So you can do or you can't do it. Anyway, sable biscuits. Got my oven on 160. I'm gonna cook these for 9 minutes. Get down on the bench here. All right, so that's my sable mixture. I cook these straight, my oven ready. I cook these from fridge cold. So I don't always do with a lot of biscuits, but some biscuits I do. And I'm going to cut them with my cutter now. And then as soon as they come out the oven, I'm going to be a bit sneaky and I'm going to cut them again just so they're perfect, because it's hard to get a biscuit to stay the same shape unless you cook it on a really low temperature, which I'm not going to. So cutting them out so they hold together really nicely. These actually freeze pretty well like this as a raw biscuit or a raw tray of biscuit base. These are all right. So cut through this. I always cook all my biscuits on a piece of Silamat, but if you've got just greaseproof paper or a biscuit tray or whatever. So they're going to get lined up on this tray. 160 for 9 minutes. I'll come back to you. Okay, cracked wheels. Cracked wheels, sugar twheels, crispy glassy stuff, whatever you want to call it. I'm not going to show you how to make this completely because I've already got my prep done. What I will do is explain to you what it is. So in the recipe, you have 200 grams of glucose, 200 grams of sugar, 50 ml of water. Now you put that in a pot, making sure it doesn't stick around the sides and stuff like that, and bring it up to 154 degrees. So you need one of your little thermometers, which you should all have now, because if you don't have one of these and you're not zapping people in the head as they come in your house, you're missing a beat. Well, no one should be in your house. Australia, you're allowed friends. Temperature probe people, or not probe. That's going to get you into all kinds of trouble. Zapping someone's heads, very different than putting a thermometer underneath someone's armpit or somewhere else, right? So don't do that. Anyway, 154. Getting off social cues. 154, let it cool. And when that cools into this just set seafood glucose looking block, and then you break it up, right? And this is my broken up. So let's see, there we go. Where are we? Yeah, cracked wheel mix. Beautiful. And this is what it looks like. This is me just broken up into big shards. So it just sets in the thing. Looks a bit like crack. I mean, kids, don't go near anything like this on the streets. That's what I was saying to you. So this is crack. I mean, this is crack. This is a cracked wheel, right? I feel I've gone really off tangent here. But anyway, this is what it looks like. And then you blend this into a powder. So once you've got it into a powder, stick with me. Back to your favourite old Silamats. Hello, Silamats. So we blend the tweel mix into powder, and then we covered the tray. Just this perfect thin little coat. So the whole thing, the whole square tray, and then it melts. So we put it in the oven. What do we cook this for? 180 for like a minute and a half. So not long. So you've got a sugary mix. It's just going to melt it into a bigger sugary mix. And then you can sprinkle stuff on there, get a bit more flavour. And then we're going to roll them into tubes. So this is a crack. Here we go. Whoop. Hello sunshine. Yep. So that's them. This one's actually got a bit of curry powder on and stuff like that, because that's something else. But I'm going to make them up today. So here's one without much on, so you can see it's sort of see-through. So it's a little tube of love. Hello, I spy. Hey, a little eye. Anyway, so that's your mix. I'll show you once I've blended it and put it on a tray, and then we bake it off. And then when it comes out, you cut it into whatever shape you want and roll it around whatever you want. You might have wanted a big disc. You might want a little glass basket. You might want a glass tube. Whatever you want. These are the things I'm actually going to try and fill, whether I can or not, still yet to see, with some rhubarb. That's my little plan, is to fill these up with like a ginger rhubarb. But we'll see. Like everything, never done it before, so we'll have a look. Brilliant. All right, so I just blended this. Woo! So it looks a little bit like dry ice. It's not. It's just my cracked wheel mix, which I've blended. Chuck it through a sieve, because that can't do it any harm, can it? There we go. So that's what that looks like. Get that all out, because this is all bloody lovely. Bloody lovely it is. Right, everything really dry when you're dealing with your sugary tweel, your bowls and everything. And it goes through there. There we go. And you've got this beauty. Look at that. Amazing powder. A few chunks aren't bad because it is all going to melt. So once you got that there, double clean. Right, show you what's going down in the hood. As I said, this step of the entire thing, it's not the easiest. I'm not going to lie to you. I don't think it's an easy process, and I save it for special occasions. Is what I do. things like this. They do last. So if you make these twirls up, that's the other really good thing about them. They last for ages. So I'm just going to put some in the old Sivaruni. So as you can see, I'm just doing this. This gives a nice light covering. Get your fingers in there too much, and you want it as thin as possible. That's my biscuits ready, but we'll get there in a second, that's fine. Okay, I'd say that's pretty good. Alright, I'll do the other one. You can flavour this, as I said. I've done some savoury ones, savoury-ish. I mean, it's obviously still bloody pure sugar, really. So it's not that savoury, but you know what I'm saying. So that's them, and we're going to chuck them in the oven for 1 or 2 minutes. I'll get that. Alright, that's my biscuits. Well and truly cooking away. Alright, so as you can see, beautiful biscuits. They are just delectable. There we go, beautiful biscuits. And they're pretty good size, actually, look. Yeah, they haven't grown much because they've been refrigerated, but I don't care. I still give them a little zap. And you can see it's just taken off the most minimal amount. Be careful not to, don't need to touch them at this point. So just while they're still really soft, all I'm doing is making sure they're exactly, most of them, some of them have nothing coming off, but, and you might be thinking, you know what, you're being a bit anal there, chef. Literally what I do on a daily basis. That's the other thing. People go, oh, you chefs, you're so pretentious. Really look up the word pretentious, people, because, I mean, yeah, we are. I mean, that's nuts and bolts of what we do. You're making something into something it's not. So if you do want pretentious, stick with your chicken nuggets at home, peeps. Like, I mean, if you want pretentious, come at me. So you can see not much is off there, but all that means is give them a few more minutes, cooling down the tray. I'm going to put them on a rack and they'll be perfect size. So then I have, this is the base, we've got the cheesecake in the middle, we've got the nougatine, we're on the cracked wheels. We'll get to rhubarb in a second, but all looking very good. Okay, this is the rhubarb component. I've already poached this, and I'm not going to show you how to do it. So all I did was get some beautiful forced rhubarb, which is, when it's forced, it means it's really nice and pink because it's been forced to grow in the dark. I think so, one of those anyway. Anyway, it's a nice rhubarb. This time of year, you should have shitloads in your garden, so just go get it or rob it from someone else. Easy as. And all I've done with this is, this has still got a lot of texture about it, a lot of, shape about it, because I've only just poached it. So what I've done with this is, glacé ginger, so Gimba Banuchins, so we're talking a bit of candied ginger, in with a little bit of sugar syrup in a pot, and the tiniest amount underneath. So loads of rhubarb, a tiny bit in a lid, and let it just collapse until it just collapses its shape. So not long, so probably 2 minutes on the stove sort of thing, and then let it sit in its juices, and I've just drained the juices off. So there doesn't become a lot of it, but it's just cooked. And then what I'm going to do is grab these pieces, I'm going to finely dice them and give them just enough liquid to make them delicious, put them in a piping bag, and they're going to go inside our tubes hopefully. So that's I'll get back to chopping this in a minute. There's my sugar twirls. Let's get to them. All right, let's get that out. So we're doing these. I put these in the fridge overnight, so they're really still got loads of texture about it. And I don't always want my rhubarb to be the softest, mushiest stuff in the world. So a bit of texture's all right. You don't want it raw, because raw rhubarb's not essentially brilliant. I mean, there is some. I think you can eat it in some salads and stuff. So there you go, just a really fine dice. Once again, this is on the. We're doing a fancy dessert. So I mean, if it wasn't a fancy dessert, you could just put a beautiful chunk of this on top of your cheesecake like this. So just strip it all up into the fibres and get it in there. But super fine dice. However you want to get to that point. Can't really do this stuff too much damage. I want this so small though, it's going to go through a piping nozzle. So I have no real qualm even at this point if you want to get a little bit mush up inside it. You know, I don't usually like the old chop, but that's all right. And I probably won't put much liquid because that's quite moist, and we'll see how we go with the piping. We're going to get through chop all this. Alright, so here it comes out of the oven. Just like a sheet of glass. Now it's all about timing at this point in time. So that's just melted it, so it's just like a sheet of sugar basically. And it's going to be really hot. So I'm going to put some plastic gloves on. Now, these aren't going to stop me from burning my hands, so don't put some rubber gloves on and go, oh, chef told me the bloody rubber gloves would sort it out. No, it's not. It's just going to, won't stick to your hand, it'll stick to a glove instead. Now, once you're a little bit more ready, like I kind of am now, and I'm impatient as hell, what I do is, I grab him, and I put him on the bench and take the hot tray away. Leave the hot tray, because if this isn't going well, you can put it back on the hot tray and give yourself a bit more leg room. A little bit of moving room, all right? So, try and put the gloves on your hands properly. Not like me, you've got like the bloody melting. Okay, here we go. Annoying bastards. There we go, yeah. And as you said, just start cutting yourself some shapes. I don't want anything too long, so I'm going to go this way. Yeah. Let's have some nice sections like that. That's good. Instead of this starts solidifying, which it is. I've got my shapes getting cut. Get back on your hot tray. That should give it enough warmth. You can always put this back in the oven as well, if you're not going in time. No, that's not cutting properly. Just give it another look. You don't want to cut through your matting underneath, so be careful. Give yourself a little run around each one. Oh. So that's what we have that. And if you grab yourself, make sure it's nice and hot so it's pliable. You don't need that long, so cutting a bit off. And pliable, and grab it around your thing, and it should set into a nice tube. Just doing the last few now. So once you've got them into shapes, even if you're having a bit of trouble, you can just reheat the shapes, as I said, like the squares like that, no problem at all. It's got to be quick when you get to them, not like this one. Beautiful. Up she comes. She goes. Okay, so now we chopped all that rhubarb up. I'm actually grabbing a fluted. It doesn't matter straight or fluted at the end, as long as it's smaller than the actual tweel cylinder. Get your piping bag. Rhubarb. I haven't put any more liquid back in with this rhubarb. It didn't need it, and I'll keep that liquid, and it might get drizzled on the dessert. You never know. So in your bag. And you just want to check that that actually will come out. It's not going to be pretty, but it will come out. But yep, put that to one side. Woo. Okay, so let's put this together. So what we have on the bench here is we've got the cracked wheels tubes at one end, Florentine biscuits or nougatine, whichever way you want to look at. Some sable biscuits, the cheesecake, a piping bag full of rhubarb. Got a few edible flowers here just for a bit of prettiness. I've got the plate here, so let's get to putting it together, I suppose. Yeah, let's move my little camera over there a little bit. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Okay, so first things first, let's fill up a one of these amazing glass tubes. Let's get a thing there. Finger at one end. And you just want to fill them up Simple as that. So you got rhubarb all down the middle. Maybe we'll find a little bit so it looks like it's coming out the ends. And that's cool. So I'll put that there, ready to go. That's my tube on top. My plate goes here. Now, here we go. So I'll build it next to the plate and I'll put it on the plate. So there's my biscuit. All right, so now we need to find a cheesecake that's going on top. So there he is. There she blows, fits perfectly. Okay, so I'll slowly peel off the and sit it exactly on where you want it. I'm hoping you've all got a blowtorch. Now, if you haven't got a blowtorch, what are you doing watching YouTube videos on food? Because you're not a real foodie. Go get yourself a blowtorch. No, you're joking. As I burn my face off. And you're just giving that a little bit of a blowtorch around. I mean, that'll come out. So that's as simple as that is. A beautiful cheesecake, there we go. Let's get me lifter. Could go on the plate. Right bang in the middle, so you've got your biscuit edge. Now that's what a cheesecake looks like, isn't it? Looking all pretty happy about that. Nougatine biscuit on top. Perfect fit, there she blows. Your rhubarb tube, sitting there just like that. Just want a couple of flowers, really. I mean, a little bit of blue and a bit of yellow is not gonna go too bad here. So I would just go a couple of flowers along the side there. Do you know what? That's it. That's. I was gonna say simplicity at its best, but it's not really simplicity. There's a lot of work in it. That slid all over the place. But beautiful. So there's your cheesecake. You can crack into it, eat it. It's going to be absolutely amazing.